Obviously Friday night's going to be, a heck of an environment. Going to Michigan State Friday night, national television. Both teams have had some days off here to kind of get ready. So, anticipating one heck of an environment playing against potentially the national championship team. That's kind of who they are. So it's a great challenge. It's very exciting. And then moving forward from there, the gauntlet that we'll go through, really no team in our league will have to endure over the next 3 weeks. So it's going to be challenging, but it's also going to give us a lot of opportunities here to continue to find a way to, make things happen for these guys. They've done a really nice job here in the last few weeks of improving, and I think we're continuing to improve, and I think our guys are excited to be playing. Well, playing the games is obviously fun. There's not a whole lot to talk about. The preparation and the time in between, it'll be hit and miss. It'll be trial by error for our coaching staff. You have to take, the temperature of your own players. Are they injured? How tired are they, et cetera, coming off wins, losses. There's a lot that you'll balance over the next, 3 weeks. But the big thing is to continue these guys, allowing them to feel good about themselves. Allowing them to continue to improve, working with them individually, and finding a way just as the next 3 weeks, 4 weeks, having more guys step up and play their best basketball.
You mentioned feeling good about themselves these last 3 games. I'm sure it helped. How do you see that kind of manifest itself on the court as far as just feeling confident, feeling good about themselves?
Yeah, confidence. Belief in one another. Being excited to be there on game day, not worried about anything other than the opportunity to compete and play to win. And that's what those guys have been doing. It hasn't been pretty, but we found a way to gut a couple out, and then obviously had a breakthrough second half the other day in conference play for the first time at home, which was another, big step in the right direction. So I think our confidence is growing. I think we're continuing to enjoy the process right now. It's going to get hard, but at the same time, you have some older guys that, when you're a senior and you have about a month left in your college career, you're giving everything you have right now, and that's a good thing. Our older guys are engaged.
Just health-wise, everybody okay?
Yeah, knock on wood, we're having full practices right now. We've had a couple nicks and bruises from the games last week that guys sort of, weathered through and were able to be full go for Northwestern. And, we've been full go all week with what we're doing. And we'll try to save some legs here today before we take off, just because not just the Michigan State game, but, Monday, Wednesday, Sunday, Tuesday, I think is the next sort of gauntlet. So the amount of time to practice in between these next, 3 to 5 games will be a little bit slim. So, today may be one of our lighter days as we get ready to approach, kind of a thick part of our schedule.
They've struggled, obviously, in the last 3 games. They had 3 games in 8 days stretch or whatever. Now they've had 6 days to prepare for you, or 5 days, whatever it is. But, what challenges do they present to you?
Well, they got it all. They got the whole deal. It starts in the inside game, their transition game, their inside game with Nick Ward. That's a heavy emphasis for how they get started. When that's going well for them, everything else seems to flow. You got outside shooting, you have physical wing play, and you got depth to absorb, so to speak, some foul trouble and whatnot. So they have a lot of great things going for them as a team. And, when you start talking about Coach Izzo and the preparation and how he has his team ready, I'm sure that there's a few speed bumps every season for every team once you get into conference play. That's how it is. But fully anticipate, a ready team and also a team that can contend to win it all. And, that's a great thing for our league.
Has the intensity or mood in either locker room or practice changed much from, say, when you were struggling against Indiana State before Wayne versus now when you guys have won 3 in a row? Or has it stayed pretty consistent?
No, I think we're in a much different place mentally. I think we have a focus about us. There's very little distraction in terms of within the locker room. I think, we're really focused in on just improving, getting better, finding a way to improve individually. Guys feel good about themselves playing, and I think that was the case. As we entered conference play, We started off at Wisconsin, and I think I've said this a number of times, just really disappointed with our second half toughness level in that game. And since then, I think we've been really focused on not letting that happen again. And not that it won't creep back in. I think playing in the league, and you're going to have some ups and downs and some highs and lows. You just got to find a way to stay even-keeled and stay with it. And I think that's what we've done here in the last few weeks, just kind of stay with it every day. As a staff, focus on the guys and try and help them improve individually, and as a team, continue to compete and battle and practice every day for however long you go, and hopefully you start to see some translation into the game, which I think we have seen a little bit.
Things in terms of like concepts and being able to execute them kind of rhythm, things snowballed a little bit for guys that maybe they were moving too slow or thinking too much early in the season, but it's building. They're building on it faster, I guess.
Yeah, I think we're much more in tune with how we want to play. You're at game, I guess, 18, going into game 19 now. So, I mean, roles are defined and expectations are there. And I think we have most of our guys playing in a way that they understand that individually and what they're being asked to do to help us win. If they do that, good things will happen. And I think we have a lot of guys focused in on trying really hard to do, the little things. And I think we've seen some guys step up here in the last 2 or 3 weeks and play better. And I think as that's happened, our team has gotten better.
We've talked a lot about guard play the last couple of weeks, but I think just looking at the numbers, some of the Ken Pop numbers with Josh specifically, they've been some of the most efficient games he's played since his freshman year back-to-back. What have you kind of seen from him these last couple of weeks?
Yeah, I think, especially our last 2 games at home with Penn State and Northwestern, Josh was a big reason why we were able to win the game. We had really solid guard play at the point guard slot for heavy minutes. And he played close to probably, 30 minutes in both games, or 25 or 30 minutes. He's been able to get double figures. He's had a high assist-to-turnover ratio. He's made free throws. And in general, defensively, he's probably had 2 of his better games, just being able to stay in front, keep guys in front. Especially, I thought the Northwestern game was one of his better defensive games. But make no mistake about it, there's correlation to our team being successful and having some consistency in the backcourt, whether that's Devontae and Josh and Rob against Penn State, and whether that's Rob and Josh against Northwestern. There's a correlation that goes with our team playing well, and having good guard play is something I think that as we hope to be more consistent, having those guys play the way that they've played, really helps.
Is there something that you saw spark that coming off the Minnesota game where he goes into Penn State maybe feeling a little different, looking a little different?
No, I don't think so. I didn't think that Josh particularly played very well at Minnesota, but I do think he came back and continued to really work. And I think as we're trying to get our guys to free up and play aggressive, teach them through film, he's had a much more of a playmaking mentality rather than just shooting and scoring. If you look at him, he's had some really, really big-time plays in terms of being able to, pass the ball, whether that's the assist, whether that's the kick out and transition. He's had some really good plays where he's made the game easy for other people, and I think we missed that at times, and I think he's really did a good job in our last 2 games in particular of being a facilitator and being a guy that has made some plays for others.
Juwan Morgan's added a lot to his game this year. What do you think is the next step for him in his development?
I think Juwan's doing a really nice job right now. I think the one thing to moving forward, added element is consistency, maybe more from the perimeter shooting the ball. I think right now he's a better shooter right now than he was earlier in the season. He's more confident in taking the shot in the games. But at the same time, being a guy that can really put the ball on the floor and get fouled, being a guy that can stretch the floor from behind the line is something I think that, as he continues to work, he'll have, kind of a full arsenal.
You've talked a lot about the team being a better three-point shooting team than it's shown. Do you have some practice stats that might bear that out, or is that just your own observation?
Just shooting the ball, in the spring, shooting the ball in the fall, looking at our practice stats, looking at our shooting drills in practice and the percentages. We have guys that shoot a much different percentage, in practice and in our workouts than we do in the game. And that's probably just the one, outlier that from a percentage standpoint, why would we say, we're a better shooting team than we have? Just, I think we are. I think, Al really hasn't got it clicked in conference play a whole lot yet. He's a better shooter than that. Rob finally broke out maybe a little bit against Northwestern behind the line. I think Rob's a much better shooter than he shot leading into Big Ten. Josh is probably as consistent as anybody from a percentage standpoint in the games, but I think he's another guy that can make multiple shots. Colin has shown the ability to stretch the floor, but he's been a little bit erratic here lately. But I think we have better individual shooters when I watch him in drills and I watch him in practice. And then in the game, we haven't put like one of those games together where everybody was hitting. So there's still hope that I think that maybe we can, get a little bit hot here as conference play goes and improve our percentage from behind the three-point line.
As a former college guard yourself, did you ever have a chance to dunk one like Josh did the other night?
On a low rim, really low rim. Yeah, he pulled one out of the bag. I think Josh has been renowned for being a really good athlete in his time. I think as he's gotten a little bit older here, and especially dealing with the knee injury a few years back, you're seeing a guy that's got a little wear and tear on his legs. But it was good to see him make the play. He had a nice game.
8-foot rim?
8. No, probably even a little lower than that.
With Michigan State's length in the backcourt, it's 12 defensive rebounds that you still want out of your guards.
Yeah, that's a good barometer for our guards is the defensive rebounding numbers. 12 or more is always really good, but against Michigan State it's a little bit different. Being able to keep them off the glass is very, very difficult, and it's going to take all 5 guys to sort of grind it out. If you look at some of the teams that have been successful here against them or had a chance at being successful, they've rebounded adequately, and that's going to be a huge thing for us on Friday night is to be able to contain the glass.
Defensively, what do you guys need to do against the bigger bodies, Bridges, Ward, Jackson, especially if you guys are playing small?
Well, it's not about necessarily the size. It's going to have everything to do with our discipline and being smart. Michigan State clearly has a size advantage. But I think at the end of the day, it's all about quickness and it's all about positioning. We're going to have to really cover for one another, try to do our best to eliminate the easy catches and the easy stuff where they're just not able to pound us. But they're a downhill team. They execute. They're very physical. And I think, just for us defensively, the challenge will be foul trouble. That's the thing we're looking to avoid the most is to really be able to play without fouling, because that's something on the road there that we won't be able to endure as easy, say like we did against Northwestern being at home.
Is it with the foul trouble, is it even a bigger challenge to avoid the cheap little offensive fouls on a moving screen or something like that?
Yeah, the ones, you can't have the, I guess the loose ball rebound foul, which they're calling nowadays, the one-on-one blockout where they say you hold the guy. That's a tough one. The moving screen's a tough one. Offensive charging is a tough one. You have to be really disciplined with how you want to play. And, you have to have your antennas up just in terms of how the game is going to be called as well. Once you pick one up, you're going to have to be smart. But, playing hard without fouling, it goes without saying, the harder you play, the less you foul. And I think the more disciplined you are off the ball, the less you'll foul. And those are a couple things we've really just spent a lot of time on in the last 2 or 3 weeks just with ourselves, really, really trying to be disciplined.